vertigo and kind of being a bit dizzy. So I'm sorry. I apologize if I'm a little bit off.
All right,
I do
all right, all
understand
right.
the show must go
All
on.
right, all right, all
That's
right.
why we're jumping into this game.
Dude, the amount of like early game stealth though. Bro, like how did he find him? Did he piss off a crow or something? How did he find him? I would love to like talk to Trickster Shadow about this shit. Cause dude, his ability to find people early game is nuts.
Hey everybody, it's me, Trickster Shadow, Variety Killer Man with over 6,000 hours in the game. And today, like you saw with what Tofu was asking, I'm going to try to show you guys how to find people at the beginning of matches. This has been a question I've been seeing a lot of people that were rewatching the tournament. They were asking, and a lot of people that have come into my stream since, in the about a week or so since the tournament has happened, asking how I find people so fast, how I know where survivors are, how I have this like mythic sixth sense of detecting where survivors are, especially at the beginning of matches. And this is something that I thought was pretty common, but I guess this is something that I need to talk about, and my process of breaking down like the most likely locations of where people are. And that's what we're gonna do today. Whoa, I'm super small now. All right. So what I'm about to show you guys is from a DBD Steam project on the Steam forums, or guides, or whatever. It's on something with Steam. But I'll put the link in the description, where every update, this person makes little layouts, little maps of all the DBD maps, and basically labels like what's in the map, or how the maps are laid out. And so basically how you can understand this, triangles are low walled loops, kind of like the junk tiles, to where you see like barrels and sticks and everything, and then there's like a tower, like there's a truck, stuff like that. The squares are high walled tiles. They're just the typical L&T walls, typical long walls, typical jungle gyms. MB stands for main building, so in this case it's the actual coal tower itself. And then the road is just kind of like a straight shot. There could be tiles on here as well. And then base, it stands for basement, but this is really just like the shack, because the basement could also spawn a main building. And so what I want to show you guys is what I call the 3 tile rule. This is something that I thought was pretty common knowledge, but I guess isn't. So based on where you spawn, Coal Tower is a really easy map to find people just because of how small it is. But based on where you spawn, like there's tiles right here, like this road. It still counts as tiles, even though like the road is laid out like this. So based on where you spawned, so let's say you spawned right here as killer. With the 3 tile rule that I use in tournaments, or just use in like normal matches, everywhere within 3 tiles of me, there's not going to be anybody. So over here, there's not going to be anybody. Over here, there's not going to be anybody. Not going to be anybody here. Not going to be anybody here. Not going to be anybody here, here, here. And in the front of the main building, there's not going to be anybody. And so kind of create a circle all around me of where everybody is not going to be, as you can see. And there's probably not going to be anybody here, to be honest. All right. So as you can see, because of where we spawned, we have a pretty good idea where the survivors are going to be. So because we have this circle of 3 tiles away from us, both horizontal and vertically, and then kind of making a circle all the way around us, we know that nobody is within this part of the map. Everything on this side of the map, on the other side of the pink, is our survivor spawn limitation. They can't spawn within here because we're just too close to them. So the survivors are going to spawn everywhere besides that. There's going to be a spawn right here, 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 spawn right here. So this is all survivor spawns. And based off of spawn limitations, because there are some spots that because they can spawn there, doesn't mean they necessarily will. We can break it down a little bit better. So there could be a survivor spawn right here inside this jungle gem, also right here. They could be outside of the main building and also in it, but they aren't going to spawn right here just because of how spawn limitations work, and they're most likely not going to spawn right here. But what you can really guarantee is, like, if you spawn right here on Coal Tower, right outside the shack, they're probably going to spawn in the corners, if not the main building. So Coal Tower is a really easy example of this. I'll show you guys the other examples. Let me pull them up. And actually, before I show you guys the other examples, this is just a little thing that when I was making this video, I realized I'm going to show you guys the Coal Tower, actually me running through Coal Tower with a dummy account and showing you guys exactly where I find somebody and showing you guys like how I'm explaining. So you can, if you don't understand this, watching me go through it will make a little bit more sense. All right. All right, this is another coal tower variation. It looks like we're spawning in by the water tower. Because of where we spawned, there shouldn't be anybody on this side of the map. We spawned a little bit more towards the middle. Shouldn't be anybody within 3 tiles of us. So there shouldn't be anybody near this wall. This is a tile right here. This is going into another tile. 2 tiles. So there shouldn't be anybody on this side of the map. Now, the way I spawned, there should be... there's a survivor spawn in that corner. In the building. In the corner right there. And this tile right here. It's L&T wall. And so we're going to walk through these survivor spawns and see where we see the bill. It's just waiting around. Again, this is just a dummy account that I have. I'm gonna rotate through and we see him right there in the corner. All right, so this is Shelter Woods. If you guys don't know how Shelter Woods is laid out, there's a basement right here. Main building is actually just a giant tree. Of course, all these triangles are low-walled loops or just rock loops. Rock loops are considered low-wall loops on this certain map. And then we got the jungle gems, the high wall tiles, or the squares. And so depending on where we spawn, say we spawn in this jungle gem right here, going for 3 tiles horizontally and vertically. We know that nobody is going to be spawning within these regions, and then making a circle all around us. Just working our way down. And so horizontally, vertically out, and then kind of making a circle all the way around us. We know that nobody's going to be spawning in this corner of the map. And so what I would do if I were you, if I spawn in this corner, is you really can decide which way you want to go. Neither way is better than the other. You know that somebody's going to be spawning right here. And so you could walk through here and try to see if there's anybody over here. Kind of walk through here, then turn your way this way and just run through as many survivor spawns as you could. And of course, you could also run this way and try to find anybody. But if you run that way, then you're a little bit away from the basement. It may not be as good at pathing. But yeah. And then of course, if you spawn in the middle, that's where it gets all funky. That's why middle spawning in the middle of the map is really bad for killer, because let's say you spawn in the middle near the tree. Let's say you spawn right here. If you spawn right there, then you're denying all of these spawn locations horizontally and vertically. Look at all these spawn locations you deny. You know why? And then of course making a circle all around you. All right. Making a circle all around you. Did I mess that up? I may have messed that up. All right, there we go. I think. No? Oh, it'd be like this, yeah. So making a circle all around you. You can see how you cover a lot more of the map when you spawn in the middle. Make it to where they don't spawn as many locations. But now they can spawn anywhere around you. And so for like a full 360-degree view all the way around you, survivors could spawn, which is very bad. And at that moment, if you spawn in the middle of the map, just run to a corner. And depending on where exactly you spawn, like see like there's better locations. Like these corners are a lot better than like this corner, since there's only 2 spawns in this corner. So you want to try to go to the places that are like the furthest corners of you. And so if you spawn right here, you could go like over here would be a good bet, or over here, which is a little bit closer of a corner, but still within the limitations of the spawn regions, you should be able to find maybe 1 or 2 people over here. But over here would be best by the basement, especially because it's by basement. And yeah. All right, that's another Shelter Wood spawn. We spawned in by shack, a 3-tower radius. We know that nobody's going to be in the tower over there. Nobody's going to be in this tower right here. We're going to rotate right. We know that this half of the map, pretty much everything below this giant tree in the middle, has nobody spawned. And so beyond this L&T wall, there should be survivor spawns. And we got somebody right here. All right, hello. Right. So this is Ironworks of Misery. Here's the basement. Here's the main building. Here's the log pile. There's a log pile right there as well. So we're gonna run through as if we spawned on this map. So let's say we spawned right here, which I believe I did in one of my test playthroughs of trying to see if this is a good proof of concept. So I spawn right here. There's not going to be anybody within 3 tiles of me. That's 3 tiles. Of course, let's make this tiles. All right, there's not going to be anybody within 3 tiles. There's not anybody right there. And then we just work our way, making as much of a circle around us as we can. Not going to be anybody within these tiles. I have X's, and there we go. And so we can essentially make it to where we know that this whole corner of the map, there could be a survivor spawn right here in this very corner, but I don't know. I would, when you run into situations like this, to where there could be a survivor spawn right here, I don't think it's worth your time to go there. I think it's more worth it that if you have a possible spawn location of just one spawn location, just ignore it and just run through here and work your way around, because it's better to run through multiple spawn locations at a short amount of time than going over here. Oh, there's nobody over here, and then even if there is somebody over there, it's better to go through like multiple spawn locations, because even if you find somebody here, you want to try to find as many people as possible at the beginning, because if you run into 3 people or 2 people, you're interrupting those people from doing gens instead of just finding one person really fast. And so that's what I would do if you spawn there. And then obviously the reverse, if you spawn on the side by the main building away from Shack, you can do the same thing, marking down tiles. Ironworks is a really easy map to find people just because it's so simply laid out. And of course, if you spawn in the main building, like say you spawn like, let's cut this up again. Say you spawn like right here in the main building, then you can make it all 3 tiles around you. You just deny a ton of the map. Just a ton of the map based off of where you spawned. It makes the spawns really wonky when you spawn in the middle. You really never want to spawn in the middle, in all honesty, just because of how wonky it makes the spawns. See, like, there you go. It should be right there. So if you spawn in the middle of the map, you can see how much the map you deny spawns. But it makes it to where if you go this way, then there's going to be people behind you. That kind of sucks if you spawn in the middle. But you can see, for example, like this is a survivor spawn, this is a survivor spawn. All of these are survivor spawns. And so you essentially make it to where instead of you having like 20 tiles to where people like could have spawned, since you know the limitations of the map, you know that there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tiles that they could have spawned at. Obviously, a little move, but it makes it a little bit easier to deal with. Now we're spawning in the Ironworks of Misery. We're spawning in the Shack, so we know there's going to be nobody within a 3-tile radius of us. So there's not going to be anybody within these jungle gems right here. There may be somebody over here in this jungle gem, because this is just outside of 3 tiles. It's a bit of a stretch. There may not be anybody here. It's kind of an iffy survivor spawn. There could be somebody that spawned right here. We're going to rotate around. There could be somebody in the main building, especially up above. Up above is a spawn. We don't see anybody over here. We're going to rotate around this hill, and we got a bill right here. All right, and then this is Groaning Storehouse. Groaning Storehouse is a little bit interesting just because it's not shaped like a normal map. Instead of it being like just like a normal square map, it has these little outcroppings, and these little outcroppings can make spawn regions a little bit weird. And so the best possible spawn that you can get on this map, and really any map as killer, is if you spawn in the corner. Because if you spawn in the corner, then here, let me divide this up so it makes it a little bit easier to understand the spawn regions. So if you spawn in this corner, you know that there's not going to be anybody right here, not going to be anybody right here, all for 3 tiles away from you. There's not going to be anybody, which makes it a lot easier. So you know that there's not going to be anybody within these 3 tiles of you, which is pretty good, which is very nice to know. So you essentially cut this map in half. There's probably not going to be anybody beyond this, both horizontally and vertically, and a little bit in between. And so this whole rest of the map, there's survivors. And so what you can do here is you pretty much have to guess. And usually what I do is if I spawn right here in the corner, I will go all the way to here, and then I'll be looking on this side of the map as I'm walking over here in case I see anybody. And of course, if I see anybody, I dart back. But I just make my way and serpentine through. I try to find anybody. If I don't see them, I serpentine through here and then work my way back to my spawn region, because by that time, then they should be venturing into my spawn region and we should be able to find somebody. And let's say maybe you spawn a little bit more awkward of a position. Let's say you spawn in one of the outcroppings. If you spawn in one of the outcroppings, say you spawn like right here, then it's essentially the same thing. Like you're spawning in a corner. There's nobody right here, nobody right here, nobody right here. Not gonna be anybody out here because it's outside of the map, of course. And so you know that nobody's gonna be spawning this outcropping with you. Nobody's gonna be spawning in basement, most likely. They're not gonna be able to spawn in basement at all. And so because you're so far back, it kind of limits. There's only like 4 actual tiles that you deny spawns at. So if I were you, if I was spawning in the outcroppings, I would most likely run to this outcropping. Uh, or maybe a better idea would be if you spawn in the outcropping, you could rotate this way and spawn and go here, because these are all survivor spawns. Survivor could spawn right here, could spawn on the road, could spawn in the corner, and somebody is almost guaranteed going to spawn in the corner. Just because it's so far away from you, usually the corner furthest away from you, there's going to be at least like one survivor nearby at the very bare minimum. So spawning right here, then spawning, or not spawning right here, spawning right here, and then walking all the way to this corner, and then rotating through trying to find somebody would probably be your best bet, probably the most informed bet. And yeah, here's some footage of me walking through. All right, we're spawning into Groaning storehouse. We're spawning in the middle of the map, kind of, which isn't really good. We know that nobody's going to be in this corner of the map based off where we spawn. Nobody's going to be right near here. Pretty much everybody's going to be beyond that tile right there and beyond the shack. So we're going to rotate towards the edges. So the entire team is going to spawn essentially like within these little prongs going out. We're going to do a little serpentine maneuver through these tiles, and we got him right here. And of course, the other spawn that were the other 3 survivors, of course, somebody could spawn with him there. The other survivors are going to spawn just beyond this hill and this prong as well. Because of where we spawned, nobody's going to spawn within 3 tiles of us. And so we spawn towards like the end of the storehouse. So it's about a tile coming out, a tile this hill, and then like this tile maybe. Spawn in kind of an awkward position. And so somebody's going to spawn by the log pile or something like that. But nobody's going to spawn in this corner. There may be a single spawn right here, just based off of where we spawned. There may be somebody right here. But yeah. All right, and this is our final map. This is Suffocation Pit. Suffocation Pit is a bit of a weird one. So with Suffocation Pit, let's draw out the tiles, just because they didn't draw the tiles in the main building. So Suffocation Pit is a bit of a weird one. If you spawn, let's say you spawn right here. You spawn right there. You know, for 3 tiles, there's not going to be anybody. 3 tiles horizontally. Do. So as you can see, there's a bit of an issue. So if you spawn on one of the sides, then there is a survivor spawn that's possible in this corner. There's a survivor spawn that's possible right there. And so if you go through here and these people manage to hide effectively, then there'll be people behind you, which is never good as killer. You never want to have people behind you as killer. You always want to push everybody to one side of the map. But the thing is, that's a little bit of a risk, because if you go over here and there's nobody here, then you're wasting time, very valuable time at the beginning of a match. And so even if you spawn right here, like on one of the sides, always just go to the other side, try to find somebody on the other side of the map, because there's so many more survivor spawns. All of these are survivor spawns over here. A survivor could spawn within any of these tiles. And so you would much rather go through these tiles, these like 10 tiles, than go to these 2 tiles and waste your time on this side of the map. And of course, let's say you spawn. Let me erase all this real quick. Let's say you spawn in the middle. The middle is very, very troublesome. So let's say you spawn, for example, right here as killer. If you spawn right there as killer, let's see all the tiles that you would clog up. So you clog up that tile, clog up this, clog up this, and then boop, 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 boop. So this is what you do. And then this is why spawning in the middle of maps is bad, especially on Suffocation Pit, because then you make it to where they can spawn in any of these tiles, and it makes to where the map is cut in half of survivor spawns. And so pretty much either side that you go on, people are going to be at. And of course, the spawns could be a little bit weird because people can spawn together and stuff like that. But in this situation, you just really pick a side. You pick a side and commit to it. If you find people, that's good. If you don't find people, you just got unlucky. So just pray that you don't get a middle spawn. All right. So we're spawning on a Suffocation Pit at the shack. We know that nobody's going to spawn in with a 3-tile radius of us. And so there's going to be nobody within this corner, and there's going to be nobody on this corner either, since we spawned in kind of like the middle of the shack side. All right, we are just exiting our no spawn limit. So there could be any survivors within these spawns. We're going to go rotate right, because there could be anybody within these spawns, spawning by the log pile, spawning in the corner, and we got Bill right here. And yeah, that's the video. If you guys enjoyed it, please consider it on liking and subscribing. If you have any other things that you want me to try to explain, feel free to tell me. I don't know if I'm going to make more videos. I could make more videos based on the other realms, but I worry that it's just a little bit too self-explanatory, that there may not be any reason for me to. Like, I could go through the Auto Haven, Cold Wind, all the other different map variations of trying to explain where the spawns are and just like running through them just for the sake of doing it. So if you guys want me to do that, please tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to think that it's a little bit repetitive. I do think that it would be nice, just because some people are more visual learners. They need to see how it's laid out themselves. But I don't know if there's any interest for that. But besides that, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone.